Hello and welcome and namaste from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Coming up over the next 30 minutes. The Axiom Mission 4 undocked successfully from the International Space Station. Dragon capsule with India's Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla is on its way back to Earth for a splashdown on Tuesday in the Pacific Ocean. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi in Beijing ahead of the SCO foreign ministers meet, stresses on de-escalation 9 months after the LSE drawdown. And US President Donald Trump is set to meet NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte at the White House following the announcement of his decision to send Patriot air defense systems to Ukraine. First up, the Axiom 4 crew, which was launched on the 25th of last month from NASA's Kennedy Space Center, has wrapped up its mission aboard the International Space Station after completing over 250 orbits of the Earth and traveling more than 6 million miles over a period of 18 days. AX-4 mission pilot, India's Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, and 3 other astronauts entered the Dragon Grace spacecraft as they prepared for their journey back home. The hatch of the Dragon Grace spacecraft that connected it to the International Space Station was closed at 2:37 p.m. IST, that's the Indian Standard Time. The undocking was completed by 16:45 IST. The splashdown is expected to take place off the coast of California at 3:01 p.m. Indian Standard Time again on Tuesday. And earlier, the crew participated in a special farewell ceremony, marking a historic moment as Group Captain Shukla, India's first astronaut on the International Space Station, bid farewell to space. Following the successful undocking of Axiom 4, India's Minister of State for Science and Technology and Space, in a social media post said, and I quote, "Welcome back, Shubhanshu. The entire nation eagerly awaits your arrival back home as you begin your return journey." And the family of Indian astronaut Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla has expressed immense joy and pride ahead of his return to Earth on the 15th of July after an 18-day mission aboard the International Space Station, or ISS, as part of the Axiom 4 mission. The family in Uttar Pradesh's Lucknow is planning a grand welcome, reflecting national pride in Shukla's historic achievement as the first Indian to visit the ISS and the second Indian astronaut after Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma in 1984.
अच्छा लग रहा है हम लोगों को तो बड़ी खुशी है कि मेरा बेटा जो है मिशन पूरा करके वापस हो रहा है। ये हमारे लिए बड़ी गौरव की बात है और मिशन भी उसका अच्छी तरह सक्सेस रहा है, तो ये हमारे लिए बड़ी गौरव की बात है कि बेटा मिशन पूरा करके धरती पर वापस आ रहा है। हम तो बस वेट कर रहे हैं कि कल किसी तरह लैंडिंग हो उनकी और सक्सेसफुल वो वापस आ जाएं, बस हम ईश्वर से यही प्रार्थना करते हैं।
बहुत अच्छा लगा जो मैसेज दे रहे थे कि हाँ सारे जहाँ से अच्छा भारत आज भी दिखता है, ये उन्होंने मैसेज दिया वहाँ से, तो सुनकर बहुत अच्छा लगा कि देश के प्रति इतना जज्बा भरा हुआ है उस बच्चे के अंदर। बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छा लग रहा है सोच के कि 17-18 दिन के बाद बच्चा वापस आ रहा है, धरती पर आए उतरेगा, तो अच्छा लग रहा है, बहुत खुशी हो रही है बहुत ज़्यादा।
Super excited. Actually, it's a mixed bag of emotion right now. बहुत happy. It's like nervousness is also there. We are not having that full of excitement feeling kind of thing because we are slightly nervous. This stage is a little crucial about that landing off and all, undocking from that space station and then landing down, splash down basically because they are landing in the water. So this is like we are highly excited, happy that he is coming back. We are going to meet him soon. But yes, nervousness is also there because it's a crucial moment.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has met his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi on the sidelines of the SCO, that's the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the FM's Foreign Ministers meeting in Beijing on Monday. Now, during this meeting, Dr. Jaishankar stressed on the need to address the issue of de-escalation along the border. The External Affairs Minister said that India and China have made significant progress over the past 9 months in normalizing bilateral ties. Dr. Jaishankar also thanked China for resuming the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra after a gap of 5 years.
We have made good progress in the past 9 months for the normalization of our bilateral relations. It is the result of the resolution of friction along the border and our ability to maintain peace and tranquility there. This is the fundamental basis of our mutual strategic trust and for smooth development of bilateral relations. It is now incumbent on us to address other aspects related to the border, including de-escalation.
Earlier, Dr. Jaishankar met Chinese Vice President Han Zheng and conveyed India's support for China's SCO presidency and noted the improvement in bilateral ties. Dr. Jaishankar asserted that the bilateral relationship between India and China has been steadily improving since the meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi in Kazan last October. He also expressed confidence that the discussions during this visit will maintain that positive trajectory. The two countries marked the 75th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations. The resumption of the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra, which I mentioned earlier, is also widely appreciated in India. Continued normalization of ties of the two Asian neighbors can produce mutually beneficial outcomes. Meanwhile, Dr. Jaishankar will also participate in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Council of Foreign Ministers meeting to be held in Tianjin on Tuesday, that's the 15th of July, which is tomorrow. The ministers will exchange views on SCO cooperation or SCO cooperation in various fields and major international and regional issues. The SCO comprises 10 member states: China, Russia, India, Iran, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Pakistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan and Belarus. Now, US President Donald Trump has announced plans to send Patriot air defense systems to Ukraine to bolster its defenses against Russian attacks. Trump did not specify how many weapon systems the US will provide, but he stressed that the US will be reimbursed for their cost by the European Union. Now, this move has come just 2 weeks after Washington said it would pause some arms deliveries to Kyiv. Trump also said he has plans to meet NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte to discuss Ukraine and other issues later in the day.
Well, I'm going to have a meeting with the Secretary General. It's coming in tomorrow. But we basically are going to send them various pieces of very sophisticated military, and they're going to pay us 100% for them. And that's the way we want it. And we've been trying to get that again. Biden, I don't think Biden ever asked for it. Putin really surprised a lot of people. He talks nice and then he bombs everybody in the evening. But there's a little bit of a problem there. I don't like it.
The announcement follows Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's request for more defensive capabilities to counter Russian missile and drone attacks. And Zelensky is met with U.S. Special Envoy to Ukraine, Keith Kellogg, in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. That's happened on Monday. And speaking during the meeting in the presidential office, Zelensky said he spoke with Kellogg about air defenses. Zelensky wrote on social media platform X that they also discussed sanctions against Russia.
We had very good conversation with General just now, and thank you, General, for coming. And thanks, we have often meetings with you and your team. Thanks to your team also for coming to Kyiv. Thank you so much. We are thankful to President Trump for his all messages and very strong decisions about resuming deliveries for us, and we are thankful for bipartisan support. And of course, we had very good conversations in Hague, and we had with President, and we had very good phone conversation. We made some decisions very positive for both countries And just now we spoke about air defense with General.
Meanwhile, the Kremlin on Monday said that the big picture of President Trump's remarks about supplying Patriot air defense missiles to Ukraine was that U.S. arms and ammunition deliveries to Kyiv have continued and are still continuing. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said that Kyiv was obviously in no hurry on the third round of peace talks, adding that Russia was ready for them and awaiting clarity on the timing from Ukraine. Earlier, Russian President Vladimir Putin had told Donald Trump by phone on the 3rd of July that Moscow wants a negotiated end to the war but will not step back from its original goals. Now let's talk about the tariff war unleashed by Donald Trump as well, where European Union ministers have agreed to prioritize negotiations with the United States to avert the threatened 30% tariffs. Earlier, EU Trade Commissioner Maros Sefcovic had said that the two sides are moving towards a positive outcome in their ongoing trade talks. Sefcovic warned that the steep tariff threatened by President Trump would practically eliminate trade between the two partners. Meanwhile, the EU is also exploring the possible retaliatory measures it may need to undertake against Washington.
30%. So eventually any additional counteraction from the United States, it has more or less the same effect. So it's practically it prohibits the trade. So if you're talking about 30% or 30% plus, there will be a huge impact on trade. It will be almost impossible to continue the trading as we are used in a transatlantic relationship. And if you look at the impact this would have, so I have to say the transatlantic supply chains would be heavily affected on the both sides of Atlantic.
So effectively, the European Union has said it is ready to take all necessary steps to safeguard its economic interests after Donald Trump announced that Washington will impose 30% tariffs on all EU goods from the 1st of August. Well, joining us with more on this is DW's Chiponda Chimbelu from Berlin. Hi, Chiponda. Now, can you bring us up to speed on the latest developments on the tariffs front?
Thanks for having me. Well, Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz said that 30% tariffs would hurt German industry to the core in a TV interview. The U.S. is, of course, the leading destination for German exports. On top of that, we've also heard from the EU as well. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said that the bloc is ready to safeguard its economic interests and that it will continue working towards an agreement by August 1st. Now, Brussels is still taking a more constructive approach. On Sunday, it announced that retaliatory tariffs against the United States are being delayed once again. Now, last week, the EU was, of course, one of the U.S.'s 24 trade partners that received threats of higher blanket tariffs ranging between 20 and 50% if the countries do not negotiate trade deals with Washington by August 1st.
And Chiponda, how challenging is it for the European Union to come up with a response?
Well, that is, of course, anyone's guess whether the pro-trade deal camp or the let's put up a fight camp will emerge as a winner. That is, of course, because this trade conflict with the United States isn't just about trade, it is also about geopolitics. We have seen that the United States, of course, has managed to get its way in recent months with European countries, getting them to commit to spending more on defense and NATO. And that is because European countries have been heavily dependent on Washington for defense. Now, the EU still needs the United States on its side to help it support Ukraine defend itself against Russia. Now, that war, of course, has laid bare the fact that European countries have depended too long on the United States for their defense needs. So balancing their goals, their trade goals against geopolitical concerns will play a role in how the EU proceeds in trade negotiations with the United States.
All right, Chiponda, let's see how it goes. Thanks for joining us from Berlin. Now, French President Emmanuel Macron on Monday hosted Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto as the guest of honor at the Bastille Day military parade on Paris' Champs-Élysées. Marking the 75th anniversary of France-Indonesia relations, the event featured 500 Indonesian troops, including 200 drummers, leading the parade, a historic first. Macron and Prabowo observed fighter jet flyovers and ceremonial marches, symbolizing strengthened defense ties. Discussions included potential deals for Rafale jets and Scorpion submarines. The parade, attended by 7,000 troops, concluded with a drone light show and fireworks celebrating France's 1789 revolution. Let's now take a look at some other stories making news around the world as well, where Ireland's Giant's Causeway is bearing the brunt of tourists who've made a habit of placing coins into cracks in the famous rocks. The coins rust quickly, damaging the stones and leaving unsightly marks. Experts say this practice has gone on for years, harming the site's natural beauty. In Arizona's desert, Native American communities of the Navajo are finally getting electricity, something most Americans have had for nearly a century. Over 10,000 families in the Navajo Nation still live without power or air conditioning. Climate change is making summers hotter, and many residents rely on generators or solar panels. In North Queensland, Australia, a world-first wastewater facility is using algae and sunlight to clean water with no chemicals needed. The plant has been developed over a decade and returns purified water to the community. The algae byproduct is turned into eco-friendly fertilizer, helping farmers grow stronger crops. It's also reducing harmful runoff into the Great Barrier Reef. Miracles of science. Now, still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Union Minister Sarvanand Sonowal inaugurates BIMSTEC Ports Conclave in Vizag. And India's Niti Aayog launches third edition of Trade Watch quarterly publication.
When I came here, I was very much, astonished by the food which is available here, the culinary food which is available from every part of India. It is impossible to get everything here done, and there are many, setup like the tawas and the oven, pizza ovens, everything. This is impossible to bring it here. I thank the Shrine Board and this Bhandara for getting all the things here.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, India's Minister for Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Sarvanand Sonowal, launched the two-day BIMSTEC Ports Conclave in Visakhapatnam. The second edition of the BIMSTEC Ports Conclave aims to boost intra-regional trade, connectivity and maritime technologies by sharing best practices among member countries. Focusing on the theme Navigating the Future, Blue Economy, Innovation and Sustainable Partnerships, the conclave brings together main ministerial delegations, port authorities, maritime experts and business leaders from BIMSTEC member countries such as Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Myanmar, Nepal, Sri Lanka and Thailand on a single platform. Speaking on the occasion, Minister Sonowal said that India's Neighbourhood First policy exemplifies its commitment to leading cooperation in the regional maritime sector.
In the next 20 years, India's port handling capacity would have grown over 3 times to 10,000 million ton per annum, with 13 deep draft megaports, 14 port-based green hydrogen hubs, and we would be ranked among the top 5 shipbuilding nations globally. The India story also benefits the entire BIMSTEC region. Collective action here will allow us to redefine BIMSTEC rule in global trade, ensuring resilient and diversified supply chain.
Now, Niti Aayog, which is India's think tank, on Monday released a comprehensive report titled India's Trade Watch in New Delhi for the first quarter of this financial year, mapping the country's global trade trajectory over the last 2 quarters. The report highlights a significant surge in India's exports over the past year and explores shifting global dynamics, including rising tariffs imposed by the United States. Interestingly, it suggests that these developments could present new opportunities for India. Niti Aayog member Arvind Virmani, speaking at the launch, urged a relative perspective on US tariffs.
Every country has been talking about this age of uncertainty. All tariffs are put, they are suspended, etc. Now, one effect of that is on the aggregate economy, whether it's the US economy or world economy, and the overall demand for exports from every country. This report and the previous one, which was done by Niti, was that it's very important to focus on the relative tariffs. The report which we've just been presented brings that out very nicely. So that's something to remember when we see hopefully developments over the next several months.
And more on the economic front, what's happened in India is that the wholesale price index inflation rate has dipped to minus 0.13% in June from 0.39% in May, marking the first negative reading since the beginning of the year. The WPI for all commodities stood at 153.8 in June, down from 154.1 in May. The drop was largely driven by deflationary trends in food articles, fuel and power, and basic metals, according to the data released by the Commerce and Industry Ministry on Monday. The wholesale price index measures the average change in prices of goods sold in bulk and serves as a key indicator of inflation at the producer level. It reflects supply and demand trends across sectors such as agriculture, mining and manufacturing. Weather updates now, and the monsoon is active across many parts of India with heavy rainfall predicted or forecast in the coming days. According to the Indian Met Department, heavy to very heavy rainfall is likely to take part in different parts of the country over the next 5 to 7 days, with extremely heavy rainfall in some areas as well. Extremely heavy rainfall is forecast in eastern Rajasthan from the 13th to the 15th of July and in western Rajasthan from the 14th to the 15th of July. That's in northwest India. While very heavy rainfall is likely in eastern Uttar Pradesh on the 16th of July and Rajasthan from the 13th to 16th of July. The Met Department has forecast rain in Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh and Vidarbha, with very heavy rainfall likely in Jharkhand from the 14th to the 16th of this month and in Odisha from the 13th to the 14th of this month itself. And time now to get you some sporting updates as well, where England has claimed 4 wickets to close on a famous win, with India struggling on 112 runs for the loss of 8 wickets at lunch on the final day of the third test at Lord's. The visitors were 81 runs behind the target with 2 wickets standing. Fast bowler Jofra Archer removed danger man Rishabh Pant and also Washington Sundar. Ben Stokes got rid of KL Rahul and Chris Stokes removed Nitish Kumar Reddy just before the interval. Archer has figures of 3 wickets for 41 runs. The series is levelled at 1-1 and Lords could tip the scales in the favour of England if they get to the win in this case. India right now batting at 123 for the loss of 8 wickets and need 70 runs to win or need to play out the day for a draw. And that's all we have for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both iOS and Android. You can scan the QR code on the screen and download the app just now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.